Captain Equine. Today we are going back to part 2 of talking about Mac, my colt. So I'm going to go ahead and I've talked a little bit about how I've sort of worked with training with him. I've talked a little bit how I got him. So now I'm going to talk about his life before I got him, which might not be 10 minutes, so we'll see how this ends out. So he was born, or let's start with his mom's life. So his mom was a rescued Mustang who had gotten pregnant by one of the stallions that had gotten loose in the, well, sort of rescue place they were at. It was not a BLM, I don't think. I wasn't given too much information. But she had gotten pregnant with him, and she was incredibly skinny. She was a couple months pregnant at the time where she was given to or bought by the rescue that I got Mac from. This rescue operates a little bit differently from a lot of other rescues. They keep the horses for their forever homes if they can't be put out responsibly to other people. So, yeah, it's a really cool rescue. I'm not going to share the name because I don't think I'm supposed to. But, she wasn't doing very well, basically. She was very, very skinny. She just wasn't healthy, and they were pretty sure that giving birth was going to kill both her and the foal. So the moment she was given access to food, the moment she was given access to all the things that she could, she fought. She fought and fought and fought and fought to get a healthy weight, to get to where she'd be strong enough to have her baby. And so she did. She was strong enough to have her baby. Her name was Hope, and they gave the name Mikhail to the baby, my baby. Mikhail, we call him Mac because I kept the name Mikhail because it means miracle. And that was just such a cute story that I couldn't not give or keep the name. But I call him Mac, that's his nickname. So they were doing good. He was given to adjust to his friends out in the pasture. One of them that I can think of was Sadie, this big draft horse that was huge. There were 2 black drafts. I can't remember very many of the others, but there was a lot of horses there, and they were all just very tight knit. There was this one other young horse. I think he was also a foal, but a bit older, maybe about a yearling or so whenever he was born. And he was sent off to training whenever I went to go and get Max, so I never got to meet this foal, but they were basically like brothers. They grew up together. So whenever this foal, who I can't remember the name of, Mac and his mom Hope, they were running around playing, and Hope hit a T-pose with her head, and her neck cracked, and she died basically the moment her owner was able to go over and get to her. So I can't remember whether or not Mac was a weanling at the time or whether or not he wasn't, but due to not having a mom anymore, I can't think of the other word, he was grown very, very close with people because they were his block, basically. They took care of him. They made sure he was okay. They were essentially his parent. All the other horses took care of him as well. He became very, very attached to that herd. So I came along. Y'all know the story from last time. I'll give a brief summary. I saved up some money. I really wanted a foal, and the lady was so kind to take a huge discount because she could tell I really, really loved Mac, and saved up the rest of the money, and I got Mac. So he got here. He spent about 2 weeks in the little goat pen. Me and him were just bonding. I started training him, and we put him in the bigger pen that Captain and Thunder are in now. God, okay, I'm a little bit sick, so talking for this long is a little bit difficult. So for any weird breaks or cuts, it's because I ran out of air. So I really, really wanted him to bond with my barrel horse, Atlas. So the first horse I introduced him to was Atlas. I put him in there for a couple hours. They fought a little, but then at the end of the night, they were eating out of this haybacks on the same tree, which was really, really good start. We took him out. Atlas is not a very social horse. They say that a horse takes on the personality of the person, and he completely took on my personality. Uh, he loves people, but he also hates them at the same time, you know. But I put them in a couple more times, and then the next horse I put in was Thunder, our recent horse that was injured. He lost his eye, so I put him in there next. They spent a couple days together, and then we separated him. I put Odin in, our big saddlebred. I think that's the word. We got him as a rescue, so we didn't exactly go and pick him out because he was that breed, but he's absolutely gorgeous. After we put Odin in, we put Ollie in with him alone for a little while. We were not going to put Loki in because he would get beat up, and we honestly wanted the rest of the herd to have bonded with him, and then all together with him having people to defend him, go out with Loki. We then put in Odin and Ollie with him all together, and that worked pretty well. I'll give a couple individual stories with them. I think I have a video up on my channel somewhere, but the first like 30 minutes they were together, Ollie and Mac were eating out the same haystack. Like they bonded that quickly. With Atlas and Mac, it took a little while longer, but out in the pasture they are completely attached to each other. They barely leave each other's sides. Loki and Mac aren't very like together, but they're friends-ish. They don't hate each other. It's a good way to put it. Same with Phoenix and Mac. Odin and Mac out in the tiny pasture where they were bonding together. Odin and Mac played around a lot, and they still do the same outside, but only whenever Atlas is taking what I like to call he sit in the babysitter. So instead of him watching Mac, Odin's watching Mac, and Ollie will sometimes come watch him. Pepe will come and play with him because Pepe's only like a year from being a baby. He's 5. No, 7. He was 5 whenever we got him, so he's 7 now. So he was only recently not a little kid. So they all played together. He has all scrapes and bruises because he plays with the older horses so much. And we drove down the driveway and I found him in a tree. So basically, they all started bonding, and then we put him out in the main pasture. I also have that video, or a video of that out. They chased him so much. They chased him for about 30 minutes, and my mom sent me inside because I wanted to go and get him out immediately. But she knew that it had to happen. Like, they had to bond. They had to get together like that. I hated it. And after about 30 minutes, Mom came in and said, they're not stopping. So, me and Mac were very attached to each other at this point. We still are. And I went over to the gate and called for him, and he came running as fast as he possibly can with the herd chasing him. I opened the gate, let him in, and we got him in there safe and sound, basically. We tried again 2 days later. This time I stayed out there. I watched. It was horrifying. I hated it so much, and I gave it about 40 minutes before I took him back in again. Then we let him out at nighttime. I had to just let him go out there because he was spending too long. It had been about 2 months at that point of me having him, and he didn't really have a friend yet. He had a couple sort of so-sos, but not really a friend. So I tried one more time, let him out, and kept him out there all night long. Whenever they came up, they didn't come up the next morning. So whenever I went on my morning walk, I saw them all, and they were okay. Nobody was fighting with him. It wasn't perfect. He wasn't like in the herd, but he wasn't out of the herd. Over the next 2 weeks, he was more and more integrated into sort of the social hierarchy. Those were a lot of big words for all these tiny words that I just said. Anyways, he was sort of pushed into the hierarchy and pushed into being the herd, and Atlas and him bonded a lot, and Atlas would now whenever any of the horses tried to go at him, because Loki still wanted to go at him, Ollie would occasionally try because Ollie was the bottom of the totem pole and he just wanted to be at the top. And Atlas would just like full barrel kick at whoever tried to come at him because finally he just accepted, fine, this is my baby brother now. Back off. Only I'm allowed to pick on him. So yeah, that is sort of how Mac integrated into our herd and sort of his life before. I hope you all have an amazing day. Bye.